The misery that Cleveland sports fans have been forced to endure over the years is well documented. Yes, the city is fresh off a championship celebration after LeBron James brought the Larry O'Brien trophy home this past summer, but before that, it was heartbreak after heartbreak. You have to go all the way back to 1964 for the city's last professional sports championship. Back then, it was the Browns beating the Baltimore Colts 27-0 in the NFL championship game. I mean, it still wasn't even known as a Super Bowl back then. The first Super Bowl didn't take place until 2 years later. That's 52 long, depressing years for the city. And while the Cavs have been able to bring some respect back to Cleveland, and the Indians appear to be doing their part as well, the Browns still look to be the same old crappy Browns. This team just can't seem to get it right. They've made the postseason just once since returning to Cleveland back in 1999, and that lone playoff appearance came all the way back in 2002 when they lost in the wildcard game to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns have also finished last in the AFC North in each of the past 5 seasons, and they appear to be headed in the same direction in 2016. That's a shame, especially because they entered this season with a little bit of optimism. The team had just brought in Hugh Jackson as their head coach in an attempt to change the culture, and Robert Griffin III was believed to be the answer to their quarterback problems. But he was injured in the team's opening week loss. And in the following week, it was backup quarterback Josh McCown succumbing to the dreaded injury bug during yet another defeat. That left rookie Cody Kessler as the latest name to be added to the Browns' infamous list of quarterbacks, which includes the likes of Johnny Manziel, Brady Quinn, and Tim Couch, to name just a few. When it comes to the Browns' endless struggles, it's clear that the problem starts at the quarterback position. But with RG3 out for the foreseeable future and Johnny Manziel still off the wagon, who could this team possibly turn to? I'm sure there are a bunch of names that come to mind. Patriots backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is one interesting option, and here's another much more interesting, albeit highly unlikely suggestion: LeBron James. Sure, the dude may not play football, but with athleticism like his, there's no doubting that LeBron could do it. The Cleveland Cavaliers All-Star used to dominate on the gridiron during his high school days, and he looked pretty good while playing against Kevin Durant and friends a few years back. The man has already won 3 NBA titles, and he just finished bringing home Cleveland's first pro sports championship in 52 years. If he can put an end to the misery of one Cleveland sports franchise, why can't he do the same for another? At this point, with their options running thin at the quarterback position, I'm sure the Browns would be willing to give LeBron a shot if he were up to it. But the real question is, how would the Browns fare with LeBron James at quarterback? Would he be any good? Could he turn the Browns season around after an 0-2 start? Would LeBron even win a single game as Cleveland's quarterback? We did our best to answer these questions by simulating the Cleveland Browns 2016 with LeBron James taking over at quarterback in Week 3 following the injuries to RG3 and McCown. But before getting into the simulation, we had to create LeBron as a quarterback in the game. Making a quarterback that looked like LBJ was easy. At 6'8" and 250 pounds, he's easily the biggest quarterback in the league. We also gave him some cool accessories like a visor and some cool Nike cleats, which only makes sense. As for determining LeBron's attributes, that was a little more difficult. We know the man's a beast. If you had to compare his athletic attributes to another quarterback in the league, Cam Newton seems like a good place to start. Both are powerful, agile, fast individuals. Newton ran the 40-yard dash in 4.59 seconds at the 2011 NFL Combine, while James claims he ran the 40 in 4.6 seconds back in 2013. So it's fair to place these two at around the same level in terms of attributes like speed, strength, agility, and acceleration. As for LeBron's awareness, we couldn't give him too high a score, seeing as how he's not an actual NFL quarterback, but we still gave him a respectable 71 because there's no denying his high sports IQ. After all, have you seen him dish out passes and run an offense on the basketball court? And speaking of dishing out passes, LeBron's throwing ability was another area that we had to address. We know he can toss a basketball like the best of them, but can he toss a football? According to this footage of LeBron chucking a pigskin full court through a basketball hoop, we're going to assume the dude's got a pretty good arm. So we gave him a 92 in throwing power and throwing accuracy scores of 88 on short passes, 86 on medium passes, and 83 on long bombs. And when it comes to throwing on the run, he's pretty good at that too with a rating of 82. Now that we have our quarterback version of LeBron James, it's time to put him on the 2016 Cleveland Browns and see what he can do after taking over for the 0-2 team in Week 3. First up, it's the Dolphins and in Miami. To no one's surprise, it was a rough debut for LeBron. On second thought, Rough is actually an understatement. This was downright brutal. Not only were his Browns shut out during the 16-0 loss, LeBron also completed just 50% of his pass attempts for a measly 128 yards and 2 interceptions, both to Xavier Howard. Things were getting a little bit better for LeBron in the second game, a Week 4 contest in Washington. After leading his team to 3 field goals in the first half, James had the Browns' offense in position to tie the game up late in the third quarter, but on a 3rd and 4 play from the Redskins' 9-yard line, with his team trailing 17-9, King James was forced to leave the game after suffering an arm injury. Without LeBron under center, the Browns were still able to tie the game with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on that drive, but a Redskins field goal on the ensuing drive was the difference. That 20-17 loss buries the Browns at the bottom of the AFC North with an 0-4 record. But the good news is LeBron's injury wasn't serious, so he's back in the lineup for Week 5. The bad news is they were taking on the Patriots. And in typical Bill Belichick fashion, the New England head coach was able to fluster the inexperienced quarterback, limiting LeBron to just 154 passing yards, 21 rushing yards, and 0 touchdowns. James did lead the offense on 4 field goal drives, but it wasn't enough to beat Tom Brady during his return from a 4-game Deflategate suspension. Patriots 20, LeBron's Browns 12. At 0-5, it's becoming apparent that LeBron isn't about to lead the Browns to a postseason berth. So the more realistic question at this point is, will LeBron and the Browns win a single game? Week 6 presented a perfect opportunity for that. Taking on the lowly Tennessee Titans on the road, things were looking good to start as LeBron took the opening drive the length of the field for his first career touchdown. He'd later add a rushing touchdown, and with just 15 minutes remaining in the game, his Browns were leading 24-3. But in typical Browns fashion, they give up 21 unanswered points, and suddenly a 24-3 lead turned into a 24-24 tie with just 3 minutes and 21 seconds remaining. But on the very next play on offense, LeBron takes the snap and rumbles 75 yards to the house. Browns lead 31-24. We're not done there though. Once again, in typical Browns fashion, they blow it, giving up a game-tying touchdown at the end of regulation before losing it on a field goal in overtime. Final score, 34-31. LeBron had some big moments in this game, including his first career touchdown and that highlight reel 75-yard run, but he also threw 3 critical interceptions, including one in the fourth quarter that was returned for a touchdown. His 97 rushing yards were impressive, but his 44.1 quarterback rating was not. Week 7 saw another road contest for the Browns, this time against the Cincinnati Bengals. And with 3 games under his belt, LeBron looked much more comfortable during his 4th official start. In what was easily his best game thus far, James' 4 first-half touchdown passes had Cleveland up 31-14 at the break. But once again, it was a Browns-like meltdown as Cincy stormed back in the second half and kicked a late field goal to give them a 34-31 victory. The silver lining in this one was LeBron's 407 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and his 128.5 quarterback rating. But if the Browns can't even turn that performance into a W, how do they ever expect to win a game? Week 8 was a step back for LeBron, who threw 3 interceptions to just 2 touchdowns in the treacherous weather conditions as the Browns fell to the Jets 30-21. As bad as that loss was, whatever Browns head coach Hugh Jackson said to his team after the game must have worked, because the following week, they finally did it. They won a game. The win came at home during a Week 9 contest against the Dallas Cowboys. And while the Browns were finally able to get the job done, they didn't make it easy on themselves. Following a LeBron James 1-yard touchdown run at the start of the fourth quarter, Cleveland held a 16-6 lead and appeared to be well on their way to victory with the extra point still to come. But that's when things got crazy. The Cowboys blocked the extra point and returned it for 2 points of their own, cutting the lead to 16-8 rather than 17-6. And later in the quarter, Dallas scored a touchdown and converted on the 2-point try to even the score at 16-16. But with just over 2 minutes remaining, Duke Johnson busted free for a 19-yard touchdown run, putting Cleveland up 23-16. And this time, they hold on to the lead, giving them their first victory of the season. As for LeBron, his numbers weren't all that impressive. Just 209 passing yards, 19 rush yards, and a rushing touchdown. But a win's a win, am I right? And the very next week, they make it 2 wins in a row, this time taking down the division rival Baltimore Ravens on the road 34-14. LeBron was efficient once again, recording 269 passing yards and a touchdown for a 108.9 quarterback rating. But the key in this one was the turnover margin, which was 4-0 in favor of the Browns. Unfortunately, their streak would stop there as Cleveland was dealt a 35-10 beating at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 11, dropping their record to 2-9 on the season. And they were dealt another lopsided defeat the following week against the New York Giants. LeBron threw 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions during the 37-13 loss, which left Cleveland at a league-worst 2-10 heading into their Week 13 bye. During the off week, LeBron took the time to fit in a few games with the Cavs and go banana boat riding with Melo, Wade, and CP3. But would the break do anything to help him and the Browns turn things around down the final stretch? Not even close. Coming out of the bye, Cleveland fell to the Bengals at home 33-7, and things only got worse the following week in Buffalo, where they lose 41-13 while playing through some brutal winter weather. The next 2 games were much of the same for LeBron and the Browns. In Week 16 against the Chargers, James put up an impressive 347 passing yards, but the Browns trailed from start to finish, eventually falling by a score of 27-22. And they finished the season with an abysmal 2-14 record following a 44-9 loss to the Steelers at Heinz Field in Week 17. LeBron finished the season with 2,789 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions in 14 starts. He also completed 61% of his passes, had a 76 quarterback rating, and totaled 258 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. In the end, he just wasn't the savior that many of us had hoped he'd be for the Cleveland Browns. Yes, LeBron James was able to bring the city of Cleveland that elusive championship, but it looks like not even he is up to the task of quarterbacking the city's football team to a playoff berth. I guess he can always try pitching the Cleveland Indians to a World Series victory, or maybe he should just concentrate on bringing the Cavs another NBA title. How do you think LeBron James would fare as the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns? Please feel free to tell us your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like that video, please click the like button as it helps us out a ton. And for more awesome videos and content like this, subscribe. Be sure to check back with our channel on a regular basis.